And I'm sure you've seen a lot of these different interesting words of wisdom all around Chatham. And we have the man here who's been kind of the backbone of it, artist and curator, Mark Reinhart. Mark, thank you for joining me today.
Hello, thanks Eric so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So I got to ask you, how are you doing in this very interesting time in our municipality, province, and our world?
Yeah, my answer for that these days is I'm rolling along. I think we all kind of have to have some element of agility and mobility through this. So I'm trying to roll as new information comes in, as things change, because it seems like they constantly are. So I'm hanging in there like everybody else.
Yep, absolutely. I think it's just one day at a time as we stand together. And some of the words from our senior levels of government saying that we're getting close there, but it's still a long time away. So you've been posting these amazing words of encouragement right now, all around. It's absolutely fantastic. What inspired you as an artist, obviously, to start this up?
Yeah, so the initial kind of impetus was the idea that art is maybe not always seen as essential during these times, and I wanted to make sure, and a lot of us wanted to make sure that art is seen as essential. So what could we do to use art as a way to speak to people? So I chatted with my colleague Rebecca Haskell-Thomas, who's who works for CK Public Health as the evaluations and planning specialist. She's always strategizing, which is great. So we came up with the hashtag Be Apart, Stay Together CK, which was a way to help people, encourage people to stay physically distant, but also how can we come together during that time? So we came up with that, started doing little events or little online tasks associated with that. And then I duct taped on the Civic Center that hashtag as a way to kind of give a shout out to that hashtag. And then I am a big fan of duct tape. I use it a lot in my personal practice. So, oh, it's super Canadian too. So I feel like I'm waving the Canadian flag at the same time. So it just kind of spun from there. So I started tagging the buildings that I work at when I'm working for arts and culture. So the Cultural Center, the Capitol Theater, and then I worked with the library, and then it snowballed. So then I started collaborating, like the library staff, who always are coming up with amazing things, came up with the books Bind Us Together. So then it led to me collaborating. So every time I go to a house or a building or a business or whatever, I collaborate with the people who live there. So then the words are a mixture of me and the folks that I've been working with. So this is really a community project.
That's amazing. Like I said earlier, we're banding together, and people's morale are up and down and all around. So I see on Facebook these have literally spread another virus of absolute love, which is hopefully, I hope that was the mission in all of it. So you're doing a great job. I want to go through a couple of them. Highlights.
Sure.
Two that stood out to me because I have to look at these as if I was looking at an art gallery. The one you did in Wheatley. What day is it today? And the Thames, planting a new perspective. These two at me. Let's talk a little bit the mindset of putting something together.
Sure. So the one in Wheatley is a great example to choose. I live in Chatham, so a lot of my initial ones were based out of Chatham, just for like proximity. It's just easiest for me to get to those locations. But I worked with Councillor Melissa Harrigan and said, where in your ward would be some great places for me to go? My instinct is to get out to Wheatley. And so she connected me with a few business owners in Wheatley and Tilbury in the area. And right at the main intersection at Wheatley is where this What Day Is It Today is. And it's cheeky insofar as I kept thinking, what are things that people keep saying now? What are new, like when Facebook came out and people started talking about Facebooking each other, like all of a sudden that was part of our vernacular. What's part of our vernacular now? And that is something that I keep hearing all the time, that people just lose track of what day it is. So to kind of help maybe lighten the mood and to help people laugh and interrupt their day with something a little bit flippant, that was the motivation for that one. So just to kind of be a little bit breezy. and the Plant a New Perspective. So the LTVCA, CVA, LTCVA, sorry. They reached out to me and said that they wanted to have a message on their building. And so we came up with a few different options, but we wanted to privilege this idea of planting native plants. But they, at the same time, it's an opportunity to plant a new perspective. So what are we thinking about now? How are we approaching social relationships, physical relationships now? And then also, how are we engaging with our environment and our world, not only now, but what new practices can we take with us when this is all over? So it was kind of a double entendre there for that one as well.
Sure. No, I think there's so many out there. If you haven't had a chance to take a look at any of them, is there a Facebook page or a group that you've kind of created? Now, I know we don't want people looking through your Facebook, but is there somewhere that people can see a majority?
No, or just join my Facebook. I've kept it pretty open at this point, so you can pop online on Facebook, and you can check me out on Instagram at Mark Reinhart. And then if you follow the hashtag Be Apart, Stay Together CK, then all of the photos are linked under that hashtag as well.
And, with this whole social, physical, and social distancing, if you're looking for something to do, go find some of these all around Chatham-Kent. They're absolutely fantastic. Mark, Chatham-Kent is such a welcoming and proud city. Yeah. It does. We are coming to a very dim light where, Ontario is slowly opening in phases, but obviously this isn't going to be open, in 3 days. How important will this all be still as we kind of, course through these stages of the COVID-19 pandemic?
I think it's, I've been trying to approach this situation with patience and compassion, and for each other, for the government, for kind of what everybody's going through, right? We're all experiencing this in different ways. And for me, the messages are do what I think art always does, is reflect our times back on us so that we have this lens to see the world through. So I'm hoping that as things change and as things evolve, then the messages will also shift and evolve to help us have something visual to help us navigate through this, whether that's emotionally, mentally, physically. I would say we need art more now than ever.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, again, I'm going to say it the third time, we just got to keep banding together. And, as each door tinily opens, then, we thank you so much for time speaking with us. Is there anything else that you would like to add as we close?
No, I just love this community. I think that there's, in addition to the duct tape pieces, I'm also inspired by all the amazing things that the community is doing, like putting art in their windows, chalking sidewalks, and these birthday parades. Like, there's so many different ways that people are being creative, and that is super inspiring. So I would say keep being creative, keep thinking different.
Hear that, CK? Keep being creative. Don't ever stop creating, because you know what? We got to keep creating until this is all over. And once it's over, we have ourselves a big old Ontario block party to celebrate.
For sure.
Mark, thanks again for taking the time to speak with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.